Hi, I'm Kaya.
And I'm Joanna.
And this is Starlit Citadel Reviews.
Mysterium is a cooperative deduction game with beautiful art from Alexander Nevsky, Oleg Sidorenko, and Portal Games.
In Mysterium, the players are investigators trying to solve an old murder mystery with the help of a ghost who can only communicate with them through dreams. It's playable by 2 to 7 players in about an hour. Now, we're reviewing the Polish edition of the game, Tajemnicze Domostwo, which has been available in North America for some time. There is an English edition coming with some minor rule changes, and it should be available this fall.
Players begin Mysterium by making one player the ghost. The others become investigators and collect an investigator board and set of markers in their color. The cards are sorted into decks based on their backs and shuffled. The investigators draw a number of cards determined by the number of players and the chosen difficulty level from each of the 3 brown-backed investigator decks and place them face up on the table. These cards create the pools of suspected items, locations, and characters.
Next, the ghost searches through their blue-backed decks for the matching item, location, and character cards. All other investigator and ghost cards are removed from the game. Next, the ghost secretly chooses one item, location, and character card per investigator and places them face down in a stack with one of the investigator's tokens on top. The ghost draws a hand of 7 dream cards. Each investigator places their clock token on the top space of their investigator board, and the round marker is placed on the first space of the calendar board. Then the game begins.
A game of Mysterium is divided into 2 phases, reconstruction of events and revealing the true culprit. During the first phase, investigators try to determine the item, character, and location card chosen for them by the ghost. They start with the item as indicated by their investigator board.
Each round, the ghost gives each investigator one dream card that relates to their item. These are placed face up on the table in any order. After giving out a dream card, the ghost draws a new one so that they always have 7 cards to choose from. If they have no suitable clues, the ghost may discard and redraw their entire hand a number of times determined by the difficulty level.
As soon as the first investigator has received their dream, the investigators can begin the investigation step. They try to decide which card on the table the dream corresponds to. Once they've made their decision, each investigator places their token on the card on the table which they believe is referenced by the dream they received.
Next, in the mysterious sign step, the ghost reveals if each of the investigators has guessed correctly. If they're right, the ghost reveals the matching card from their set, and the investigator takes their copy of the card from the table, discards all of their dream cards, and moves their clock marker to the next space on their board, indicating that they will now be guessing their location. Once they've guessed their location, they move on to their character. And if an investigator discovers their full set of 3 cards, they no longer receive dreams and help other players instead.
If an investigator's guess is wrong, they keep their dream card. After the mysterious signs step, the next round begins. The round marker is advanced, and the ghost deals out a new set of dreams.
Once all of the investigators have identified their suspects, the final revealing the true culprit phase begins. Each investigator puts their set of 3 correctly guessed cards on the table. The ghost then secretly chooses one of them to be the culprit, takes their character card, and places it face down in front of them.
Next, the investigators have a shared dream. The ghost lays out 3 dream cards and indicates which one corresponds to the item, location, and character in the true culprit's set. The players then guess which of the suspects is the culprit. If they guess correctly, the ghost reveals the culprit's character card and the players win.
If they guess incorrectly, then the round ends and the ghost draws back up to 7 dream cards. And the ghost can decide if they give the investigators 3 new dreams before they guess again. Now, if the 7th round ends before the investigators have found the true culprit, the players lose.
So I really like Mysterium. This is a beautiful game, and that's one of the first things you're going to notice when you open the box is how gorgeous it is. This is filled with incredible art. On the dream cards, on the character cards, the location cards, everything is designed beautifully. Great color. It reminds me a lot of Dixit, the large cards with the abstract art and the nice colors and the different ways that they could be interpreted. It very much takes elements from that game and blends them with elements from some of the more simple deduction games that everybody's familiar with, like Clue, for instance. So it does this very, very well. And I like the fact that not only is it beautiful, but the art actually lends itself really nicely to the theme. I'm incredibly impressed at how they took this gorgeous art and put it in a game not just to make it beautiful, but actually to bolster this theme. Because you're a ghost and you're communicating to people that you can't talk to and you have to use imagery. So it uses this gorgeous art in a really, really nice way. And I'm very impressed with that. One thing you should probably be aware of when you're purchasing this game, I don't know if it's a negative, but probably you should be aware of it, is that the game does change if you continue to play it with the same group of people. So if you play it over and over again with a group, you're going to start to learn the images and make associations with the dream cards and the character cards, location cards that you wouldn't do if you weren't already aware of them, if you hadn't seen them before. This doesn't wreck the game by any means. It just changes the game. So if you own this game and you play with a gaming group a lot, it is going to evolve over time into something slightly different.
The other potential issue with Mysterium, and it's an interesting one, is that there are so many editions of the game right now, and they're all just a little bit different. So the great thing about Mysterium is that it's completely language independent, except for 3 little words on your investigator card that you can learn very quickly. So that does mean that you can take a Polish or a French edition and play it with an English-speaking group without any problems. And in fact, because there's some component and some art differences between the editions, you might want to kind of collect different ones depending on what you like better. That's all wonderful, but where it becomes a little bit challenging is that there are minor rule differences between all of these versions. So if you learned the French game, but you're now playing the Polish edition, or you're playing the English one that comes out later, you might have to kind of readjust how you play the game because they are making minor rule refinements with each edition that comes out, and that can provide a really interesting challenge if you're dealing with a new group that's maybe familiar with one of the different editions. Now, I also absolutely loved Mysterium, and for me, what really makes this game completely unique is the role of the ghost. Now, there's sort of DM-type roles in a lot of games where you're either competing with the players, like in Descent, or you're trying to facilitate something for them, but I think this is the first game that's really made communication an issue within that, and it makes it absolutely fascinating and immensely frustrating to be the ghost. Because, you know, you'll put down a card that you think makes a perfectly clear connection or a very obvious one with one of the other cards on the table, and all of a sudden your investigators will talk themselves in a completely different direction, and you just end up sitting there completely flabbergasted by the way that people think. This game does a very good job of playing on the natural human tendency to want to find connections and want to find patterns in things, even if they don't exist, and it uses that to just sow delicious confusion. This game is wonderful in that regard, and it means that the role of ghost is one that's not just interesting and engaging, but maybe even desirable, which is not common in these kinds of games. The other thing that's great is because the game is so quick to play, it's, you know, you can learn it in about 5 or 10 minutes and you can play the whole thing in an hour. So it's very easy to get through a number of iterations of the game in a night. So when somebody has a really frustrating time as the investigator and they think that the ghost is doing a terrible job and they're going to do a better job and they're going to jump in and be the ghost next time, they have a chance to try that role right away and to discover just how challenging it is.
Mysterious side.